Carl, awesome video. Good evening, everybody. Straight out of Cape Town. Tonight we have some awesome guests on the show, and I'm saying hello to you from this awesome little place of Gansbaai, somewhere there on the coast of daar in die Bundu, soos hulle sê. And it's a beautiful evening outside here. We're doing a little bit of camping, and tonight, as you know, we have some absolutely awesome guys on the show. But my co-host Byron, he's somewhere out there, as usual, always there, holding up the fort. And episode 2 of Straight Outta Cape Town. And as you know, that we've moved the Witzenberg Motor Talk to Friday evening, so tune in on Friday evening as well. And tonight's guests, let me just say hello to Byron there. Byron, hi, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thanks, Abdul. I hope you're doing well. You're looking very relaxed, by the way. I say that very much.
Yeah, I'm so relaxed. I might be going backwards.
You got to take a few steps backwards before you go and you shoot it forward. So I think what happens is that unwinding time is incredibly important, especially in these times. And a nice quiet place like Gansbaai is always a good idea to go and get a breather in before the big great noise of motorsport and the smell of petrol and everything comes back to you. It's going to be a great year.
Absolutely. As usual, you know that our first Gymkhana is scheduled for the 20th of February to be confirmed, but that's kind of the date that we've earmarked. So guys, you got to get your cars ready. And for the 20th of February at Killarney, I will let you guys know closer to the time what's happening. Yeah, but tonight's guest, let us introduce you guys to tonight's guest. First up, we have Bobby Nitro. So you guys know Bobby Nitro from the Daily Voice. Is he still there? Hi, Bobby.
Hello. Hello, Abdul. How you doing? Hello, Byron. Cool. Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. I mean, it's just awesome to have you here.
Excellent. It's going to be interesting. I'm the guy who's used to asking the questions, and now the shoe's on the other foot. So we'll see how it goes, right?
After what, it's a casual chat, so we're just gonna have some fun. You know, give people some background information to what happens behind the scenes. You know, we always think that motorsport and motor racing is made up purely because of the drivers and the cars, but you know what? That's only one part of it. Behind the scenes, a lot of stuff happening. There's the commentators, there's the newspaper guys, there's the media guys, there's the mechanics, there's a whole lot of other people that make it happen. There's the officials. So tonight we want to get another spin on what's happening behind the scenes there, and you guys are going to kind of tell us, you know, how to connect the two. How do you connect what you guys do with the people out there? So yeah, let's just we're going to get into it later on. Next up we have I see Shahiem Bell there somewhere in the background. Is he there? Shahiem, Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me clearly, first of all?
Yeah, you are breaking up your sound.
You can hear me, man.
Yeah, I can hear you kind of, but it's kind of breaking up. So I'm not too sure what it is.
1, 2, testing 1, 2.
That's kind of not 100%. I mean, I'm not very technically minded, but maybe you can sort it out.
I'm going to see what I can do the side.
Yeah, it's kind of coming through better now than what it was. Maybe the car in the background is making too much noise there with all that tire smoke there. Yeah, we can't. You kind of disappearing. You coming back and disappearing, coming back and disappearing. So maybe you can do something there.
Okay, let me work on it. Introduce the next guys along, and I'll get to it.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, we have Shadley somewhere in the background there as well. We'll just call him Shads for tonight. Assalamu alaikum, Shadley. How are you, my brother?
Salam. How are you guys? Hi, Byron. Bobby.
I'm good. You know the rest of the guys. Thanks for being on the show tonight.
Thanks to you, man.
Yeah, so it's lekker to have all of you on the show tonight. We're just going to have a lekker chat. And it's always lekker to talk about motorsport and what happens behind the scenes and the people that are involved and what you guys do and, how it ties in with the community work. That's important because at the end of the day, it's not about us, it's about everybody out there that's going to have some fun and learn something from what's happening as well. I just want to check with Kyle. Kyle, do we have anybody else in the background there? In the lobby? Is Uncle Figo around there or what?
Hello.
Uncle Figo. He has arrived.
Hello.
Are you well, Uncle Figo?
I'm alright. How are you guys?
I'm good. You sound like you're commentating at the drags there. Where are you?
No. I sound very far away because I have an issue. I don't really, my headset's mic doesn't really work, so I've had to select a little bit of a MacGyver here.
No, I'm good. You must just teach Shahiem how to do a MacGyver. He's still busy with, I don't know, tuning calls.
There's a king van MacGyvers.
Ik weet man, hy het nou die kroon verloor. Hy's nou die king van MacGyvers, jong. Okay, so guys, just before we get started, just for the people who want to go and pray, you're most welcome to. I'm going to leave in a couple of minutes to go and pray. Then you guys can take turns after one each, because Byron is there in the background talking to Bobby and the rest of the guys. So I'll go first in the next couple of minutes, just get the show going. And then I'll go and do what I have to do, and you can go do what you have to do. And if you don't want to do what you have to do, it's fine. It doesn't make a difference. So yeah, I just want to, it's a casual chat, guys. Nothing serious, nothing. People want to, just be real. That's what it's about. Okay, Byron, you want to get going there?
Sure.
I think first and foremost, Abdul, I just want to say please to everybody watching, send your comments, and that of course you can see on the left, on the right hand side here, see TPDZ, of course that was Shahiem Bell, saw on the TV in the background. Naatse Amal, Doan Brink, hi guys, it says Ntola Daniels, salam Amal, and on this Wednesday night. So looks like Abdul's gone off quickly. I'll start from the top, and I'll start with Bobby. And Bobby, first and foremost, now, when I see a name like Bobby Nitro, I think to myself, this is a guy I have to meet, and this is going to be a guy with a very a true character and a guy with a lot of passion. Tell me about, first of all, your journey into motoring, and also some of the other hats that you wear as well, that we were talking off air.
Okay, all right. Well, lekker, thank you. I'm glad that the name Bobby Nitro is compelling, and it gets people to go like, who's this guy about? It's quite interesting. I can remember the moment that it's 10 or 12 years ago when we started the Bobby Nitro with a motoring column. I think it was called like Quiet Cara or something on the Daily Voice. And I decided I was the guy who was going to be writing this column, because I wanted to do something different. And I remember a class journo at the time, Elliot Sylvester, remember his name. And I sort of looked up and I was like, what are we going to call this? And he just tuned Bobby Nitro, straight up, Bobby Nitro. And it stuck. There was no thinking about what am I going to call myself, and that's what it became. So that my journey into motoring journalism started at that moment.
Was there any previous experience in motoring journalism? Was this something completely new at the time?
It was completely new at the time. There was no previous at the time. Yeah, this was one of those moments where there's an opportunity comes, and I kind of said to myself, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this, but I want to know, but I'm going to learn. So, I said yes, and then figured out how to do it. And hello?
I think we're getting somebody crossing in here as well with a microphone. Yeah. But that's saying that. So that Bobby was how many years ago that you started doing this?
It was like 12 years ago. 12 years ago, and every Friday, without fail, brought out a Bobby Nitro column. So early on, sort of I looked at what other motoring journalists were doing, and there was a lot of like new car launches and a lot of like press releases that get regurgitated and so on. And because the Daily Voice is very much a paper for the people in Cape Town, like none of that really made any sense. So I started going to car shows, and I started going to Killarney, and I started chatting to people, and within 6 months I had discovered this whole underground car scene that's like flourishing in Cape Town, and that's what I've been writing about ever since. Really, it's spread. It's really started with the show and shine and the backyard builds and people's stories. And I think what I've done I mean, I think quite successfully as well, is if you read carefully into my columns. I know I'm a motoring journalist, but I don't just write about cars. You know, you won't find me just giving the specs on a car and, you know, calling my judgment on it. But I like to write about the people who are involved in the cars, the people's stories behind the cars, you know, because that's where the really interesting stuff comes out. Yeah. Yeah. What was the rest of the question, Byron? What else do I do? You asked.
Yes, you do quite a lot of things. But just before we go on to that, and I also want to move on to some of the other guys just to cover their stories too. I know if you take an example, look at Top Gear. You know, it made it that cars aren't always only about the technical aspect. There's more to it around that as well, definitely. And what happens is the type of people that drive the cars, the type of characters that drive the cars, you know, various little things. So how important is that? You know, now you said earlier on off the show, you're not just testing, let's say, the latest Corolla. You know, you're going back into the backyard builds, which I think is very important.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, you know, I'm not sure about this, but I think at the time when I started out, you know, the Cape car culture didn't have a voice. It wasn't really being covered, you know. All those, you know, everybody taking, you know, show and shines on school fields and why people are doing this and so on, you know. And it's quite an important part of the culture, and it just wasn't getting any airtime. So, you know, that's where I managed to find a niche. And to answer your question directly, yeah, the stories behind the cars, you know, why people do what they do, and, you know, why they're into a particular mark or a particular brand, you know what I mean? That's where the juicy stuff is, you know what I mean? That's where you hear the stories of fathers and sons and families, and the heritage and the legacy that comes down, like, you know, with the car as the medium, really. So yeah, that's the interesting stories. Of course, you know, I mean, if a car's got clomp power and is really fast, I'm going to mention that. You know, there's no doubt about it.
No. I think that's obligatory, because what happens is power is always what, you know, especially not only in motoring and motorsport itself, you know, power is always, and the hunger for getting more power out of an engine is always a big thing. But just quickly, so you wear also many hats. So how does your other areas that you are involved in also influence your writing as well? I'm sure it has a lot of influence on that as well. You know people very well. You come from a customer services background. I come from a customer relations background as well. So I know what you mean when you know people and you know how to talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, yes, I do. Yeah, so I've got a customer services background, and also a coaching or psychology background. Yeah, so I work in the addictions recovery industry as a recovery coach, helping people find their way in this world. Yeah. So I suppose that gives me some of the people skills to ask questions where I'm going to get interesting answers from people. Yeah. But the funny thing is, when I tell people, is that Mr. Bell doing a dance in the background there? Okay, yes, it is. Okay.
Some sort of a dance. He's doing a dance there.
Okay.
I think saying that, Bobby, then I think we will just say hello to Shahiem. No, not Byron on the big screen. Shahiem on the big screen. Good-looking chaps on the big screen. Evening, Shahiem. You got sound, or you just got motion? It's like a silent film.
Testing 1 2. Can you hear me now? How's it now?
Loud and clear.
It is sign language. We're using sign language. We can't even see.
You're back, Abdul?
I'm back. What can I say?
Back. What do you say? I'm sweating here without you. You are my mentor, Abdul.
Well, where did you start? Where did you end off?
I started with Bobby, and Bobby was just finishing off. He was giving me the rest of his background and his story, where he comes from. Him and I are both from a more customer services background, so we kind of are on the same type of character. Maybe he's a little bit more colorful than I am, but
okay. So can we go to the next guest, Byron?
I think we do, and the guy I would actually like to chat to over here is Shuds, we call him. I know his actual name is Shadley Daniels, but Shuds. And the reason I know Shuds very well, is it Shuds? Am I pronouncing that right, or Shuds, or I don't know. I apologize if anybody I'm wrong to. All I know is this guy. He made a lot of comments. He made a lot of comments on the show last week, and he had a quick question on one of my the terminology I was using last week. So I'm happy to finally meet him tonight. And Shuds, tell us about your background in motorsport. You got a very interesting one here as well. You came from the street racing side of things and went into the legal drags. Now, take us through your adventures from what I think is a big area in illegal drags to going onto the main circuit and getting people off the streets.
No, the main circuit's illegal, but what Chad was doing was legal.
I actually started out way back. Gonna give my age away now, but Indiana days, end of Indiana days. Tola says, I look tired. I am tired. So I started out in Indiana.
Well, so.
I think that was Shahiem. So I started out on the streets racing a car. You see, in the Cape, let's call it the Cape car culture. You usually start out, you get the car, you tinker with it, you take it for a run, you get the guy at the robot, you take a run, and that's how you get into racing. So we've been doing it for, at least I've been doing it for some time now. When Wingfield started out, I think that was in the, call it late 90s. A few of us raced at Wingfield, and then we got to race at Killarney. And I think also the older you get, the more responsible you get. And you figured, let's go the proper route, like become a motorsport racing driver instead of just a drag racer or an illegal street racer. And that's how we went on.
So you started
responsibility.
Sorry, Baden. So you started at Indiana, right?
Yeah.
With what kind of car?
Okay, way back I had a rear-wheel drive Mazda. I actually got the Mazda by accident. And then I used to hate Mazdas actually. And then when I got my first car was actually a Mini that I never raced, but then I raced the rear-wheel drive Mazda. I got the front-wheel drive Mazda also by accident. And at the time, nobody was really modifying those kind of cars. Everybody was into your mainstream Toyota and your Golf and whatever. So I played around with the Mazda, and what I did to it worked. And I became a Mazda racer, I guess.
Tell me, a rear-wheel drive Mazda. Which Mazda was that?
The 323.
323.
The old one.
The old
70s. Yeah,
old
1979.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I actually got that by accident. It belonged to my sister. Yeah, it actually belonged to my sister, and I wanted a Golf. And then I think I was in standard 6, and I made an accident with a car.
You know what, you must just thank God that you actually got the Mazda. The Golf wouldn't have lasted long.
Yeah, I hate Golfs now. Good shot.
Okay, so let's hold that thought, because what we're gonna do is, Shad, I want you to talk a little bit about how you modified that Mazda. Okay, so we have is Uncle Figo around here? Uncle Figo?
Yes, he is.
Right. So Uncle Figo, how are you, man?
Good.
I'm all right. And how are you guys doing this evening? Salam, Salam, Bell. Evening.
You also look tired, bro.
Yeah, bike ride.
Oh, liquor. Where did you go to?
Yeah.
A bike as in bicycle or bike as in motorbike?
Motorbike.
Oh, liquor.
Just a short run, but the wind takes it out of you. Completely.
Yeah, just for the viewers, I see a comment, Walid. You're actually quite right. I'm not actually in Cape Town. I am sitting in Gansbaai, and my wife just made me comfortable here, propping the pillows up behind my back. So it's not at my house. I'm gone away for a couple of days camping. But you know what? The show goes on, Waleed. The show goes on. But coming back to Uncle Figo there. So what kind of bike do you ride, Uncle Figo?
GSX-R 1000.
Okay.
Suzuki.
It sounds fast. Suzuki. Do you know?
It sounds too fast for you.
Yeah, well, if you call him Uncle Figo, then he must be like, I mean, definitely over 25. I mean, it's a big bike. Okay, so you are a commentator, am I right?
That's correct, sir.
At Killarney.
Yeah, Killarney International Raceway, Sultana Drags, and I co-MC an event called Drift City, which happens on the Grand Parade normally once a year.
Cool. Yeah, I believe last year's event was postponed or cancelled. There wasn't an event last year, so hopefully this year is going to be an event this year.
Yeah, we hope so. Well, look,
brilliant.
We all need to go racing again, but yes, it's been.
Yeah, well, why didn't you guys come and race Gymkhana? What's wrong with you guys, man?
Gymkhana, yes, I haven't done Gymkhana in years.
Well,
I'm actually looking at coming to Gymkhana.
You guys will have a ball of a time. We'll talk about Gymkhana later on. But Uncle Figo, coming back to you. So I want you to talk a little bit about, not now, but how did you get into motorsport? I mean, how did you actually get into why motorsport? I mean, it could have been netball or something else.
Well, funny stories. I always loved the cars. Helped my cousins with the Mark 1 golf builds and what we did on weekends and stuff, but I wasn't really like fully fledged into motorsport. Used to go to illegals before I stumbled across coming to Killarney International Raceway back in 2008, and I've been a resident commentator there since 2008. And
brilliant. You know, and that's quite important, because a lot of people think that motorsport is just made up on the drivers and the cars. But you know what?
No, it's not.
There's a whole lot of other people that make this thing work. And you guys, especially you, I know Baden's a commentator as well. Now, Baden does, besides motorsport, I think he does the ballet as well, for ballet. You talk about when he does ballet, how he commentates when the ballet is at the ballet arena.
I perform in the ballet, my friend. I perform in the ballet.
Oh, you perform? Okay.
I perform an odd commentary when I want to give other people a starring role.
Oh my word! Well, Baden, I'm going to ask you to introduce your Shahiem there, the man that's got to do the sign language story there. Let's hear a little bit about what he does, and yeah. So let's hear from Baden there.
Just want to actually just do a few comments here quickly before I introduce Shahiem Abdul. I see Bevan Peterson has he's responded to Shad's comment earlier on about the Mazda versus the Golf, and he says, "Hello, Yella. There's nothing wrong with a Golf."
Yeah, he's correct.
Driving.
Yeah.
Bevan's
I like the Mazda, but yeah.
Bevan's Golf has a blue engine block.
Yeah, the Ford engine.
That's why I lost it.
Yeah, Bevan's Golf has a blue engine block, so there's a lot wrong with it.
And then Jason James says, Figo wish he was on a bicycle.
I can't be like Jason James. Then no, they're crazy.
Crazy. A lot of motorsport guys I see they're very much on the bicycles and everything like that. And I say good for them, but I'm not going to join them. So there we go. But going to for our pod, no, they can do 2 bike rides, one for them, one for us. But going now to our man who's finally looks like he's got sound, and he's got quite a setup there in the background. I competed along with this gentleman at the Super Drift at Grand West, I remember as well. So Shahiem Bell, welcome to Straight Outta Cape Town. It's nice to have you on here, finally. And a very popular man at that too.
Salam alaikum. Salam.
Somebody making a lot of noise somewhere, but Shahiem. No, we can't hear Shahiem anymore.
Maybe he's making a noise.
I think he's Kyle has just mentioned. I think the mic is something wrong with on Shahiem's side, so he's muted him. So it's going to be unfortunately either a new mic or a sign language show from Shahiem.
Okay, let's just maybe try once more there, Shahiem. Let me just hear what you somehow this kind of serious feedback or something. Maybe just go to use your cell phone or your laptop or something that's less complicated than all that setup.
Ashraf Ali says here, Mr. Bell delayed as usual. So this could be a thing, that's going over there. I think it's when he gets into the car that he's quicker than everybody.
Okay. Well, let's get into
it. Definitely is a thing.
Yeah. Let's get into to Bobby Nitro. Just before I want to get on to Bobby, how he got into things, what he does. He does some interesting stuff. And I just have something maybe for the guys out there tonight. I got a recipe for you guys. Genuine. It was lekker. I don't know if you guys into food, but I love food. So just a very simple recipe. It's just chicken wraps, right? So for the viewers out there, maybe you guys can save your marriage by cooking up a storm sometime. But it's very simple. You're going to buy some wraps at the nearest supermarket. Normal. They're not the roti, but the tortillas, whatever you call it. You can use roti as well. And you get some of these chicken strips with cheese in it, and you put it in the air fryer, or you actually just fry it in the pan. Depends on how health conscious you are. And then I just took some fresh basil leaves from the garden, put it on there with some spur sauce, a little bit of chili powder, and you can add cheese if you want to. And I tell you something, I'll eat tot dat voort van Tola breek, jong. I tell you, it was so lekker. So that was just a tidbit there for you guys. Maybe the guys out there, the viewers, you're having some marriage issues, you have a problem with your wife or something, just cook up a storm. It'll take you 5 minutes. Really 5 minutes. If I could do it, you guys could do it. Okay, Bobby, let's get on to you.
Abdul.
Talk to us about...
now, so I can... because there's something... the mic on this one. Can you hear me, guys?
Now we can hear you. Oh my word.
Now I plugged out the earphones, as you can see. Are you sure you can hear me now? Can you see me?
No, the problem is we can't see you. You lost a lot of weight. Okay,
yeah, it's all right.
Okay, quickly.
Now, you know what happened right now? My 12-year-old son came to come and connect me. I'm just not into this the tech stuff as I thought I was. But not to hold up, or not to make any excuses. I'm here now, and I just need to hear the question. Are we still at the intro part of the show? Where are we?
Yeah, maybe you must move your camera a little bit. You can only see half of you. We can only see the better half of you. I don't know. That's going to be a bit of an issue.
Which way do you want me to go?
Yeah. The same way.
There.
Yeah. You kind of center now. Center, spot on. Okay. A little bit about you. Where do you come from? What do you do? How did you get into motorsport? Very quickly.
Motorsport. Okay, very quickly to do this. I was the guy that used to call the scrub. I grew up between a lot of Fords with guys with the nicknames like Solly, Yummy, crazy nicknames. But they had very fast cars. They just went about 200 when we were racing on the N2. The days of hooking up at the Shell garages, the Indianas, the pavilions, and everything. And ever since then, yeah, there we go, Road Warriors. So with that said, it was probably inevitable that I was going to end up being in between cars and guys with cars and anything that's going to do with a motor, with the scene. So Shahiem Bell kind of grew up with the car scene. Let's put it that way. The cool thing about it was that I eventually picked up a camera and started documenting events, shows, racing, everything I could come. I could go to or that I was involved in, I was documenting. So I was that go-to guy that had all the footage from those years, I think and that just turned into the media connection where Bobby and myself was hooked up a good couple of years. I think it's more than 10 years, Bobby.
At least, eh? But
Yeah,
he's counting, yeah.
Yeah, and him and I have an awesome relationship. He's obviously been doing a lot of things, backing me with everything that I've been doing. But yeah, so obviously, like in far and in between, I've been also getting behind the wheel here and there. Sometimes my cars were never very fast, so I can't say I used to race with the big boys. But I did get into some big boy cars and obviously try my luck and throw my weight around.
Yeah,
so yeah, that's basically.
It's not about how fast you go; it's about how much fun you have, bro.
Yo, brother, I probably had as much fun as everybody here put together.
Exactly. Okay, so we just want to get Byron. You're gonna handle some comments quickly, and then we're gonna get into Bobby Nitro. He's got some interesting stuff to share with us. About what he does in the community out there, and his kind of his attachment or his how he got into motorsport as well. So Byron, just handle some of the comments and we go into Bobby very quickly after that.
Well, not many questions yet, but I see, first of all, from your chat earlier on, Abdul Khalid Tais is very delighted. You could see, he says, is this a food chat? So I think that's an extra element we can add to the show as well. We can have ourselves like fast food.
You see, it's all about adding value. It's all about adding value. So what the guys got was a free recipe, no charge, and you know what? That can save your marriage, guys. I promise you.
You see, and it's relevant as well because what happens is, I think Tola Daniels was actually mentioning. He said, "Abdul, will it make my car go faster?" All this talk about food. Food for the heart, food for the soul, food for going faster. I'll tell you that much.
His car goes slower because he's gonna pick up extra weight there.
Some of us need to actually back out of a little bit over there. But Ashraf Ali goes over here. He says, "Zoom out, Bell. You're taking up too much space."
I think
But
I think food is actually very much part of the culture also.
Absolutely.
There is something. That is something. Absolutely. Like I was saying earlier on,
food
the various
and culture
things.
going hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay,
But
Bobby.
just looking down his comments, I can see Tola Daniels is wrecking his back tonight. Carry on.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna bring Tola back on the show and we're gonna ask him the questions next time, right? Okay, Bobby, talk about motorsport. Talk about what you do with the rehabilitation program there. Talk about what you do in the community. How do you tie motorsport into the community, that type of thing?
Okay, so to be clear, what I'm really good at is finding out where these things are happening with the aid of like other people out, especially Shahiem and other people out there in the community, and writing about them and publicizing them. So I wouldn't say like I'm the guy, you know what I mean, and I'm doing this and that. I'm writing about other clubs and car movements and individuals who will do, like charity outreach initiatives in our communities. I think I sent you a couple of pages of, detailing some of those articles. Yeah. So, how do I put it? Yeah. I'm not the guy to take any praise about it. I'm the guy who finds himself in the situation and writes about it, while there are many individuals out there in the Cape Car fraternity who are doing good stuff for other people. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that really got me interested in writing about this. And as I said, I've been doing it for a decade, is that it's like a cultural movement. You know what I mean? It's not just about the cars. It's never been just about the cars. Yeah. It's about putting those cars on that field, getting people to come, raising money for schools, giving, and I think Mr. Bell will tell you about this, like giving people who've had, like young kids who've dreamt all their lives of going in a Beamer, or an M edition car and putting it together. Yeah. So for example, there was actually an engagement that we were talking about. But I think if you look through those, you'll find one or two articles about outreaches, which is what we're talking about. Yeah, so as I say, it's like I'm reporting on the people who are part of the Cape Car fraternity, or who are doing good stuff for others, and are using the pull of a beautifully done up car, because you drive a wonderful car into a Cape suburb, or somewhere on the flats, and people come out, and people gather around, and people look at this. So it's a way of bringing people together. Yeah, I think if there's a really nice video that I sent you, actually from Vincent from the Cape Cruise movement. It was also one of Cape Cruise movement. It was also one of those guys who does quite a lot of outreach. To me, it's classic. This just encapsulates. There is Mandy Sinkfontein, and there's her ride. Junaid's driver. Yeah, and there's her ride to the matric ball. And look how calm she is in that beautiful blue dress.
And she's smoking there.
Smoking.
That's very interesting, Bobby, because spinning and cars. Well, spinning hasn't been on the scene as long, forever, but it's been around. And
I disagree. Spinning is there from the beginning.
Let me rephrase this. People did not know about spinning. Not in the community, outside of the community. People know very little about spinning. But we're going to talk about it later on as we go through the guests. Maybe you guys can all listen to this and answer a little bit on this. And it kind of does a lot for the community. It keeps a lot of people out of mischief. Gives people certain things to focus on. So maybe just give us your take on that, Bobby. And we'll ask the same question to everybody else.
What's coming to mind immediately was, when was it, 2018 or early 2019? When it was 2019 when the hills started operating? Yeah?
2018.
2018, the hills. Now, because spinning has always suffered a bit in the Cape because there's no dedicated pitch. That's been like a bone of contention, axe to grind for years. And I've been following that story. But in the hills, when spinning was operating on a Saturday, I got a comment from the chief constable, the guy at the police station there, saying in this area, when that's going on, there's no crime. Which I thought there's got to be a direct correlation between the two. So, spinning gives people something to do, gets people off the streets altogether, and as long as it's a controlled and a safe environment, I think it can go a long way. And Cape Town needs a pitch, eh?
Absolutely.
A dedicated pitch.
And what's interesting is very many people outside of the community don't even understand or don't even look at spinning as any form of motorsport. They just think it's a whole lot of crazy guys spinning cars, spinning tires there. Maybe we can ask Uncle Figo to just comment on that.
Spinning, a lot of us has come from a background where we've either done a standstill, a burnout, a donut. It's just part of who we are. We front wheel drive, rear wheel drive. Unfortunately, I'm 4-wheel drive now with my current car, so I can't really do that.
Which is?
But Subaru.
I thought it was the new GR Yaris.
No, I can't afford. I will never pay so much for the Toyota. It's not a Supra. But
no, tell me when you drive the car. That's an awesome little machine. That's an awesome little machine.
I'm not like these other great guys that get chances to sit shotgun and drive these awesome cars and go to see these features and stuff. But
we won't mention names.
Look, spinning, burnouts and spinning. It's always been together. If I can remember correctly, when I started going to Killarney, probably in the late 90s. And then it was a case of there was a drags happening now. After the drags, the Oaks are going to do donuts. They're going to burn it, they're going to slut, they're going to spin, they're going to do everything. That they used to do there by the scrutineering, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. Behind scrutineering, in a little wall section, they used to do it there, and they used to do it at the top as well. So, yeah, that is spinning it's always been there, but it's not as formalized or mediated as other forms of motorsport are. And like we've had a soft drink company or an energy drink company come on board and see it as a as an opportunity for them to grow their brand, basically, so that they found a niche. But it's always been there, and look, it's just a case of getting it out there to the people. And then as Ryland says, the spin cars must look the part, because a lot of them become neglected cars and become a basic death trap, which is not good. So yeah, I know it's not part of the question that you asked, but what happens is spinning is part of motorsport, whether we want to admit it or not. And it's just that it hasn't been formalized, it hasn't been mediated or created enough hype around it to take it to the masses. You'll understand the type of areas that spinning come from, because it's a very cheap form of motorsport, supposedly, because you don't have to buy brand new tires, you can get second-hand retreads. It's just to do the job that you needed to do to entertain your people, the people that are watching, and obviously to see obviously what type of skill the guys have to portray. And what I've seen at the hills is that the spinning has not become disorganized chaos. The guys are trying to put it into choreographed type spinning, so they've given it a bit of structure, so it makes it more appealing to people who don't understand the mayhem. And yeah, it's part of motorsport. It has to be there. You're not going to get rid of it. It's going to be there. I fully support it. What Bell and the rest of the guys have been doing in at the hills, I fully support it. I've been there maybe once or twice, but I fully support it. And we need to get back. And that also gives back to the community. Gives them something to aspire to.
Yeah.
Ibadan, you want to address a few comments, Ibadan?
There are a few comments. I see one from Anwar Abrams now. Figo, we're going to be moving just away quickly from the spinning side of things and back to the drag side of things. And I know we've been speaking over the last few weeks about drags, but Anwar Abrams asks, why doesn't Killarney bring back Friday night drags? Now, that was always a big thing over the many years that it happened, Friday night drags. What made it disappear?
Wednesday night.
That's Wednesday nights. Wednesday night started happening, which is hashtag robot racing, which is and Shadley, I'm going to lose the word now. I can't get to the word right now, but it's a culmination between the City of Cape Town and the WPMC, which is the Western Province Motor Club, who currently run Killarney International Raceway. So Wednesday night started happening. That was every Wednesday. That was to help in aid of the illegal street racing. And pleased to say that we have actually dropped the illegal racing stats when the robot racing was running by about 45% decline in illegal street racing. But due to obviously the lockdown now that I saw that comment now. But
I don't think so.
But the Friday night used to happen every week in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. That was the Street to Strip, and before then it used to be the WPMC night drags. Before then, and before 2008, it was always played by ear, no advertising, nothing. You need to find out from a reliable source that it's happening or not. Then it used to be like $10 to get you in. That was me and my cousins go-to on a Friday. If it was happening, we would make the trip to Killarney International Raceway to go and watch that. And then Street to Strip started 2008. It used to be every single Friday. We used to run till about 1 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock. And it became 11 o'clock and then 10:30 and then 10 o'clock, because there is noise restrictions, unfortunately, which has to be imposed by the WPMC, which is enforced by the City of Cape Town and SAPS.
Correct. I think also, Uncle Figo, sorry to cut your word there, but if you think about Street to Strip and Robot to Robot, it's imperative that there are spectators, obviously, because the spectators actually, they kept the entry fee quite low. Not the entry fee, the entrance fee to those two events quite low. And I think with COVID, it's a bit of an issue. So I'm not sure if it's still gonna happen with COVID around because of the amount of spectators that it used to draw. I remember.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to have spectators at all.
Absolutely,
which is a big financial knock for an institution. But also taxing the racer beyond repair or beyond their pocket is also
defeats
not
the purpose.
Right. If you want, it defeats the purpose. It's a double-edged sword. They want to make sure that they cut even, and I don't have a problem with that. But don't also chase the guys away with a price. And Jesse Wright said in the comments there, it was very fun to see the 10-second cars running down on the damn track. And Todd Daniels just happens to be still the street to strip official record holder.
I think just actually looking over here at some of the comments that are coming through. Sorry there, Figo. And I know Siraj Rylands, I don't know what he means mostly by this, that Friday night drag started becoming unsafe back then. Now, I don't know what he really means too much. Was it
That's because what happens is it's condensation that happens on the track because now the track temperature is dropping. So your grip which is already bad during the day at Killarney, because now Killarney is now the ice rink of the track world in South Africa. Skripanti's got all the grip and we have nothing. So it's already a slippery track, and now you're adding cold surface area for your tires to contact on. Even though you're warming up your tires, the rest of the track is cold, and there's no prep on it because it's a multi-purpose facility. So it's only like maybe 100 meters, not even 100 meters of prep on there. You can't have any more prep because it's a multi-purpose facility. Yeah, it's just become a little bit unsafe because the rear-wheel drive cars used to get it very sideways. We've seen it at robot racing as well. Some of the guys can control their cars. Cars that we know are sub 10 seconds, they come on a Wednesday night because they've made sure that the cars are within the rules for robot. And yeah, that's just the guys just need track time. That's all. We need the track time. But it's cool. so out of our hands, we can't even get it.
Yeah. So I know, track time is a problem at Killarney. There's just like not enough time to do everything, and there's a whole lot of other factors as well. Going on to Shadley. Spinning, drags, tell us your thoughts on that, how it keeps the people off the streets and keeps them, safely in a safe environment, makes them focus on something. In your experience, how did it help? How did it help actually with the community?
Okay, I can't speak much on spinning. I'm not really clued up on spinning, but it's part of the culture. Spinning has always been part of the Cape culture. So there is a place for it. There must be a place for it. I think there's just a wrong, incorrect perception from the public as to what spinning is and why it gets done. So ideally, if we can have guys like Shahiem Bell educating people on why spinning is important. Even up in Joburg, it's part of the South African culture actually, and I think it's a bit more formalized there. Whereas over here, people get the wrong, like a misconception that it is hooliganism and who's involved, and because of there's not enough education on it. As for drags, I think robot racing helped get guys off the street, but I think robot racing only happened for like a year. I think Uncle Figo can correct me there if I'm wrong. And then they stopped that for some reason. I don't know why. So robot racing was important, but also, like you said, there are a lot of sides to the story. So it was sponsored by the city of Cape Town. Guys came off the streets, and then I think Tola mentioned it last week, where the Coast Squad would wait for the guys. I used to race at street to strip with a street legal car, but because my car is low and my car's got whatever mods on, I used to tow my car to the track, not because I didn't want to drive it, but because I was scared they're going to confiscate my license.
Is it a Mazda now?
So, yeah, that was a Mazda sometime back when we still had street to strip on
Now tell us
Friday
about
night.
this Mazda. This Mazda sounds interesting. What mods were done to this Mazda? I mean, like, what did you do to this car? Was it a 1600, a 2-liter? I don't know, whatever. What was it? What was the capacity engine? What tires did you run?
Currently, okay, I still have the car. The car, the front wheel drive one, I've got for about 20 odd years now. I haven't raced it for a while. It's what the guys incorrectly call the EGI. The guys now have a gripe with people calling a 16-valve Mazda motor EGI motor.
It's
so what is
an
EGI motor?
It's a iffy.
It's a 16-valve motor.
Please correct
mine
them.
has been, yeah. I've been correcting people about the Mazda motor since like freaking 1985. Yeah, so it's an FE stroke to 2.3, different pistons, different everything.
This is a 2-liter motor.
It's a 2-liter motor that has been stroked.
Right, to 2.3.
So the 2.3, it's got, must I really give my secrets? It's got.
You can, you know what? Maybe someone's gonna build a Mazda out there, and it's gonna be good for him, and you can help him. And I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah. So I've got a few import parts. The Mazda guys generally, I find that they all like, because nobody ever likes a Mazda, so everybody's into Golfs and into Toyotas. So the Mazda guys are very proud of the Mazdas.
Absolutely.
But I usually say the only thing in my Mazda is a block. Everything else comes with different cars. I got pistons from a Nissan. I've got valves from a Mercedes. I've got valve springs from a Superboss Opel. So very little on the car is actually from a Mazda FE. And I think that is also part of why I enjoyed building that car. It's not so much about racing it or going fast in it, but it's a joy I got from building the car and experimenting. And I think that is part of the culture that we lost. Nowadays, guys go buy you a car, you go buy you a turbo, you slap on a turbo and you go race. The technical know-how and the things you learn by trial and error is a bit lost on this generation, I think.
Okay. So here's a question. Why are the dragsters so secretive about the modifications?
They want to give the game away.
I think these days everybody wants to be the quickest and everybody wants to be the fastest. So you don't really want to tell people what works and what doesn't. But having said that, the features I do, I need to know specs, and I'll be honest, half of the time the people tell me the specs and then I don't believe what is in the engine.
Well, if I tell you that I raced the 1300 Toyota 2E that pushed out 110 kilowatts, would you believe me?
I've built a Toyota 2E that pushes 110 kilowatts, so yeah, I would.
Side rows?
Side drops, yeah.
Exactly. So if you tell somebody that, they don't believe you because they say, how in heaven's name do you double the kilowatts? But it works. I mean, that car is, I don't know about
yeah, I mean, my Mazda originally made, I think, 76 kilowatts, and we got it up to 163. That is, I think, that is more than double the power.
Yeah, and how much?
That is without turbo.
Yeah, how much in is only aspirated?
209. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, going on. Baron, anything in the background that you need to check up before we go to the next guest?
I think just a few comments here, Abdul. I see Bevan Peterson again. He said, bring back S25. On a serious note, when can we have Killarney on the show? That's a big question, that one. I'd actually love to have Killarney on the show there, some of the guys and girls representatives. And then Adnan Daniel said 25 Rand to enter and race. there were some memories over there where guys and girls could actually, for 25 Rand, enter an event and race in it as well. And then Ryan van Eden also puts up here as well. All the guys with fast cars commenting, when can I come film one? Asseblief.
Ryan van Eden, the magic man.
Okay, we're going on to Shahiem. Shahiem, he's waiting patiently there after he sorted out his mic. I think he took the turbo off and he just got a normal aspirated mic there. So you have some nice cars, Shahiem. I mean, you were a racer, right? So what did you race in the old days there? Well, talk about the spinning first. The spinning.
No. I didn't race. I used to race other people's cars.
Okay.
I fortunately had that type of friends, so I could now and again get jump behind the wheel, be behind very fast cars. I personally own.
So you were scrub.
I was a scrub, brother. I was the scrub. Anyway, I own since high school days, a 1600 twin cam, the wet look.
4AGE.
The clown. Hey, sorry.
4AGE.
That's correct. 4AGE. 86 model. I think they made about 88 kilowatts. Mine is still very stock standard, but it's been parking in the garage for the last 14 years. I just never get the opportunity or time or money to take it to another level to where it's. But the plans is now obviously with little one growing up, he's already claiming the car. And they obviously got their own ideas and plans and what they want to do with things. So my history isn't something to really talk about from a personal perspective when it comes to racing or anything else. But like we got all our media guys here. I always saw myself, like I mentioned to you before, I saw myself as the link between competitors, supporters, participants, or just the fans. I'm that link between them and their hobbies in whichever genre that is, whether it be drag, spinning, drifting, even 4x4, and I'm trying to get really involved in as much motorsport as possible. I took my son the other day to start doing some karting. They had an open day at Killarney. This man just wants to do karting now, and that's just a whole other ball game. But I think the platform, is something. I think it's a start for racing, a brilliant start for racing, because you learn a lot of things, and also what you learn there, you can obviously take to your normal daily driving, to say the least. Other than that, I've been involved in tons of other stuff when it comes from the organization part of events. The guys we were talking about the yields earlier, which is something that myself and another partner we were doing together, Johnny. It was community-based, community-driven. Also, it was a way to find that platform or facility that we could use for the sport. The history around spinning is immense. People, we don't understand how far back it goes. If I have the time, I'll quickly just run through the story of how spinning started. Spinning started, I spoke to a guy. He's actually a drag racer today, Mr. Keith. He's the owner of Southern Gears. He told me the story that because we were in a relationship, he was telling me that he started when he was in matric year in 1974. They used to go clubbing with their girlfriends and to pubs and things, because they were bikers at the time. They used to go after, when clubs used to close, they used to go back to Pavilion, and then they used to go, carry on with their socializing there. And when the socializing was getting a little bit too much fun, the guys used to go with their bikes and start doing burnouts. And then when that went into a winter period, the guys with the girls used to start coming with their cars. So when they're getting a bit tipsy, burn out with the bikes, other guys started getting involved with the cars, and that's how the Pavilion scenario started picking up. People started going, everybody started going, ending up after their outings on the weekend, ending up at Pavilion, doing their thing. And that's how spinning started in South Africa. The cool thing about spinning nationally is that I would say the Joburg guys up country, they started commercializing this thing. And today, the owners they don't work anymore. They just earn money by spinning. So it's developed so far into something. That is why you'll notice they're saying spinning is the fastest growing motorsport, and it is. Commercially, you'll see it all over social media, and the rest of the world are starting to bite onto this. To give an example, the Hoonigans platform, they specifically were here. I think they were here for Gymkhana Grid, and they went to go and visit Wheels and Smoke with some of the guys there one Thursday evening, and they took that exact idea. I'm talking about Ken Block and the whole crew there. They were all here. They then took that idea and went to the States and created a place called the Burnyard, which they now it's a spinning pitch with a barrier and one stand on the one side, and everybody who's anybody in racing or any form of motorsport, they come to the Burnyard with their actual cars and come and do burnouts there. So it's cool to see something that we used to do locally here at Pavilion as just a social thing now become a world-renowned, used by world-renowned guys just for fun, and they're getting the same enjoyment, and the crowd is getting the same pleasure by just viewing it. And that's just a cool thing about spinning at the moment. South Africa is really growing, but Cape Town definitely needs a facility for this thing to grow. We're doing everything we can from a media perspective to kind of just put it out there, to get that education going, to get people's perspective, or to change the stereotype around spinning being a hooligan thing. But yeah, we really need to get that going.
Maybe I just want to interrupt you there quickly. I think Carl's got a video that he wants to show there quickly.
Sure.
Carl, you want to bring up the video quickly?
Let's go, Kyle. Let's go.
Maybe Carl's going to get some coffee there. I don't know. I'm not sure.
How's that going today, Bobby?
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Byron, we're going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes or so. Just to wrap, let's start off with Bobby Nitro there. Byron, anything you want to ask him before we wrap up there, Byron?
Yes, Bobby, so your presence on social media, tell us where we can find you. So you can learn more.
Cool, thanks. You can find me on Facebook, primarily. Bobby Nitro Columnist. That's where you'll find it. Okay, cool. Yes. I just wanted to make a quick comment though on what Shahiem and what other people are saying about spinning is that, yes, it needs to be safe. And yeah, I think what we do as media personalities is we publicize stuff, and then motorsport, whatever motorsport it is, goes up to the next level when sponsors get interested. I mean, that's kind of what the bottom line. That's kind of what's happened with drift, and it'd be nice to see that happen with spin. But I don't think we really want to take the hooligan out of spin, hey? It's like, it's part of it. Yeah, it's definitely part of it. We can be hooligans with safety belts, yeah, but But let's leave the hooligan in spin. This parting comment on that one. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's quite interesting because we gotta go with what the culture says. My dad always said, if people want crap in a packet, you give them crap in a packet. Don't give them what you think they want. And you're quite right. I mean, people love spinning. They love the smoke. They love the guys hanging out of the cars. They love
the mayhem.
Yes, there were a couple of disastrous accidents, but you know what? Well, there's also been a couple of disastrous accidents at Killarney racetrack with all the safety measures in place. So, I'm not saying we got to just do it haphazardly, but you're right. We got to keep the element the same, the culture the same. That's quite important. And just for the youngsters out there, Bobby. Just quickly for the youngsters out there, any advice you can give them?
Get a 1JZ. Get a 1JZ because for less money you can put more power onto it. Exactly. Exactly.
Good advice, good advice.
But not only that, you must also look after your brakes. Exactly. Brakes. Yeah, it's one thing to go fast, but it's another thing to stop. Yeah, you need both of them. Okay, if you're going to have a fast car. Exactly.
It's actually quite interesting because I remember, I raced circuit for years, for a very long time, and then I obviously race in Gymkhana now. And when you're young, you always think of the motor first. When you get older and you get a bit more wise, you start with the suspension and the brakes and taking weight out of the car. The last thing is the engine, actually. And it's just the same with me. I started racing. Got the suspension sorted out for the Gymkhana, got the brakes sorted out. Lightened the car, started off with a 1300. Now you can put any engine in there, everything else is going to work still. So it's very good advice. Very, very good advice. Okay, Byron, you want to just wrap up there with Uncle Figo as well?
Yes, my twin brother, Uncle Figo. So, and I'll tell you this much: we're both commentators, so we're both in the family business too. Figo, when will we next be hearing from you over the airways at Killarney? And of course, Drags now, with the crowds not being there, the characters gone, we're still hoping just for the big crowds to come back. And of course, the big revenue generation for Killarney.
Look, you can catch me on the live feed when we do have a drag event. I'm not too sure whether I have exited myself from the organization, but that will only become clearer once I have formalized meetings, etc. But it is a.
Can I ask Uncle Figo a question?
Yeah. Sure.
I saw somewhere that you're not allowed to live stream anymore. MSA Circular.
Yeah, MSA Circular. That is depending on whether the event organizer, has an issue with it. So if, for instance, Killarney has a service MUSAT that does the live feed for them. Unfortunately, obviously, Killarney is the event organizer, so they won't be able to appeal it. Basically, it needs to have a accreditation. So if, say, myself or Bell or you decide to stand in the queue area with a DSLR camera, which is able to connect to a phone, which can connect to the internet, and live
social media posts.
I think they're probably aiming at the stuff that you used to do, But
okay, cool.
Don't worry, I've been wrapped around on my knuckles for a live feed issue. I still haven't.
I'd just like to say that if you get Killarney on the show, I'd like to be there, please.
I want to be far away. I want to be far away when that happens. Very far.
I love. You know what? It's an interactive show, so we gotta get as many people. It's what the viewers want on the show. It's what they put on the show. If you want Killarney, well, myself and Biden will actually try our best to get some of the the decision makers at Killarney on the show, and that's what it's about. Because we must. It's all in the interest of motorsport at the end of the day. That's really what the bottom line is, and So, okay, so Uncle Figo, just from your perspective, very quickly, because we got to wrap up right now. The youngsters out there today, what advice can you give them? they might not want to drive, but there are other avenues of motorsport that they can participate in. What would you suggest to them? What
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with working with your hands, gentlemen and ladies. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Build an engine, tear it down. Broken engine, tear it down. Learn the things. You can get involved in so many different ways. The funny thing is, I'm a commentator and I'm a mechanic, and this of not having racing has actually given me a chance to build my turbo engine, which I've currently got in my garage, which is going to go into my car. It's going to cause a bit of waves, but I'm not actually worried about that. I just want to get to a certain point. So you can do, there's so many different things you guys can do. You can become a pit crew member. You can be involved in motorsport in different factors and ways. You can become a marshal as well. You can speak to a marshal. They will sort you out, and that's also a form of getting involved in motorsport, so you understand the safety aspect of an event and what happens when there is an actual crash, how it should be attended to, etc. Like Killarney International Raceway, our marshals has currently the fastest reaction time in the World Rallycross circuit, being 15 seconds. The international average is 18 seconds reaction time. 8 seconds faster than the world average. That's better than Circuit Catalunya, better than Silverstone, better than Massano. It's 3 seconds faster.
And it's interesting, and they're not even sober. Imagine they were sober, they'll do it in 10 seconds.
That's a very, very touchy subject.
Is that what
that's a joke. That's a joke. It's nothing more than a joke. I mean, that's nothing more than a joke. Okay, Byron,
Shadley's hit.
All right,
Shadley's hit there.
Shadley's hit it. He's hitting it there now.
Going to Shadley, actually. I just see Bevan Peterson says over here, we want Shadley with Killarney on the show, please. So the people have spoken, and you yourself, Shads, have said that you would like to have that opportunity and to talk about the future of drags and making the show and making the relationship and everything much better. What is the future? What is next for Shads with that as well?
Shad says no comment.
I think
he'll send the response in an email.
I think he's typing.
This.
It might be typing, or he's really in thought about.
Look, I think everybody that has some connection to Killarney is a bit sour over what is happening with drags at Killarney. Not just with drags, but with drags in particular. I mean, I've raced at Killarney for the last 20 years. I've raced at Killarney for the last 20 years, but nothing has improved. Not just as nothing improved, but it's kind of regressed also.
Can I ask you a question, Shadley?
Yes, please.
Has your times improved?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Has your drag times improved over the 20 years?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. Has your times improved? Your drag times from 20 years ago to now?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening there. Okay, maybe go on to Shahiem there. We can come back to Shadley. Shahiem, just to wrap up quickly. For the youngsters out there, what do you suggest the youngsters do? What's the next step? Quickly.
So here's what I think. Coming from the media perspective,
my times has improved.
Okay, they're Shadley now. Yeah.
Delayed, I think of it. That's the feed.
My car's improved, but drag times hasn't improved that much. Basically because of the track.
Okay, now here's a question I have for you. Give the guys one little secret out there on how to make their drag cars faster. Forget the track. Everybody can drive on the same track. That we'll discuss another thing.
Yeah, look, I haven't been racing for the last 5 years. So
Okay, Shahiem, you will end up
I'm sorry.
quickly.
Let's finish up. What I was about to say was that guys who are wanting to get into the media perspective and to do what we generally do, they shouldn't think that the experienced ones are unapproachable, because that's how I did it. I used to ask everyone everything. Guys like Frankie Funky Fotis, who's all over the show. He used to walk me around Killarney. You know what I mean? And going everywhere, doing this, doing that. So that's just one example. And take all the advice. Don't drink and drive, people. Please stay safe. Wear the seatbelts. And let's all pray together and make sure that everybody's liquor safe throughout this lockdown. That I think I'm going to end on that note. And last but not least, Byron, I want to drive in the Conquest. I just realized now you were the guy doing the thing onto the.
I'll try and stay in the background, but somebody's recognized me now. So, no, thanks. That was great.
It took me the entire show to remember. That's Byron with the Conquest. Then we had a drift. We had a drift. That was at the Cape Town Motor Show. We had the drift section.
Super drift, yes.
We had the super drift guys going up against Byron in his Conquest. I remember.
This is the interesting part.
Yeah, remember? Come here, Murad. You know who told me about it? Come here. Yes, Murad. Murad said, Daddy, that's that uncle with the Conquest.
Exactly.
Uncle. Okay.
That's the exciting part. Here's the test coming. Check out this video, guys.
Easy.
Easy.
This is inside 1, 2. Zigzag.
Where's the sound, Kyle?
There's the Conquest. There's the Morocco. Here's the Conquest.
Exactly. Stock standard 1300 Toyota Tez. Having fun.
Uncle Bob.
I'm happy that we're going to be, it's the 20th today, so one more month. So only about 30 more sleeps until we have a bit of fun again. Hopefully it's confirmed, Abdul, but yes.
Yeah, well, I'm just waiting for Killarney to give me I've sent him the dates. They said the 20th is on, but I wanted in writing so we can work through with something.
Perfect.
So while Byron is driving the background there, guys, thank you very much for being on the show tonight. Absolutely awesome having you guys. And you know what? It's going to be exciting. You know, you guys might bring some people across to the gymkhanas, from the spinning, from the drags. Let's have some fun.
Definitely. Fun. Abdul, sorry to break your word, brother. But I can promise you, like I said, I'm bringing the spinners. I'm going to bring everyone I know that's not part of Gymkhana to all your events, brother.
You know why? You know, Byron is a living example of that. A stock standard Toyota Tez. He comes, and our motto is just have fun. That's all it is. If you come with politics, you get kicked out. Really.
I saw Byron going up against Chris Long with his Supra. I saw him battling there with Subaru 4-wheel drives.
Exactly.
And he was just buzzing along there, rounding the cones, doing his thing, hashing it out, cruising out. And I was one of the MCs, and I was saying, and there goes Byron.
Exactly. And you know what's the beautiful part of this whole thing? You know,
yeah, man, it was awesome.
If you ever, I have the opportunity of driving that Tez, in that Tez a couple of times. It's not a race. It hasn't got a race car setup. Nothing. It's a stock standard road car, and it's awesome.
We were having fun. It was clear you were having fun, brother. It was awesome.
Absolutely. Because guys, thanks for being on the show. We're a couple of minutes over time here, but thanks for being here. And you guys will definitely be informed of the next Gymkhana, on social media, and the viewers. Thank you out there for coming on to the show tonight on all the different platforms. And we definitely going to get Killarney. I don't know what happened to our friend there. But thank you so much, Byron, for being co-host, not as usual. Uncle Figo, thank you there. Bobby Nitro, thank you so much for you guys. And Shahiem, thank you very much, guys. And we can also